Ladies and gentlemen of the nation, what's going on, guys? Sly here, back at it once again with some more of that Destiny sweetness for you. And guys, the time has come. Keyboard dusted off, computer upgraded, updated. It's time to re-enter the arena. I've put a few videos out, here and there around the past few months, only hitting really on like huge bits of news. But with the next Destiny DLC dropping in just a few weeks' time, it's time to dig back in. So, Zervids, weapon videos, reset guides, and what I'm best known for, my guides on the raids, all of that coming back real soon. So keep an eye out for that as it's time to hop back on the D train. So let's get to why I am back, guys, and that, my friends, genuine excitement. Now, I'm a forgiving person. I mean, as like a fault of mine, I'm just really forgiving. Human optimist, I like to call myself. But anyways, while D2 kicked D1's ass in the first like 20 hours, it just absolutely pales in comparison after that. And we all know that. I mean, that's a dead horse by now. And ever since, it just kept getting worse. Bad decisions, locked content, Eververse out the yang, all of it just sucked the fun right out of Destiny, and it no longer had that newness to it, That certain something that just keeps drawing everyone back. It's not quite as much there as it was in D1. Take that and add in all the weapon changes, the perk changes, movement changes, and outright limited choices, and for the first time, guys, it really just made me angry. I mean, when I came across the Dawning in D2, without SRL, mind you, and once again, just another Eververse holiday, that right there, that did it for me. That decided it was ready, and I was ready to take a break from Destiny. Ever since then, there have been some pretty vast improvements into D2. Now, of course, it still lacks content and a slew of meaningful things sprinkled throughout, but this is really the first time, guys, that I can say Destiny 2 is improving. And the future? Well, it's looking a little bit brighter. So for those who follow me and stopped listening about Destiny around the same time I did, a lot has changed. And let's get up to speed on what's to come and why I am excited about D2 for the first time in a very, very long while. Now, as I'm sure you all know by now, Bungie pops up the weekly updates on Bungie.net. They have been getting a little better at communicating and showing their upcoming goals without being too spoilery. With that, last Thursday, they posted this. Now, it's an updated roadmap for the months ahead. First part, still in Season 2, which is what we're in today, is here. That's already been deployed. In fact, in just a few hours, 6v6 Iron Banner will be going live, which I am definitely excited to try out. And actually, by the time you guys hear this or see this, read it, whatever, it'll probably already be out. So, enjoy that. Now, the Go Fast update, it kept its word, it was a nice breath of fast, fresh air. The immediate boost to Warlock was awesome, and the Titan, I mean, they both get that boost from its jump. It brings back so much more potential in PvP. I think it's really awesome, and deadly when supers are on. There were a ton of sandbox tweaks as well, such as shotgun, hand cannon, mainly pulse rifle buffs, all which work great among other small improvements. But look towards the future, my friends. Next up, on May 8th, we have DLC numero dos. And like I called it on Twitter months ago, it is not going to be called God of Mars, simply called Warmind. God of Mars came from a leaked image of a meeting that took place, at least 4 years ago, maybe even 5 years ago, easily. It showed a roadmap that pointed to this specific DLC being called God of Mars, but they meant this specific DLC as in the numbering. This was before Destiny 2 was probably even a decision yet. So, anything 2 months old in the gaming industry is already old and outdated. 5 years, we're not even talking about the same game anymore. But on May 8th, we get another DLC drop with, of course, tons of improvements. A new raid layer, campaign, destination, raid layer, prestige modes, crucible ranking, private matches, vault space increase, multi-emote wheel, exotic masterworks, changes to progression for seasonal loot, probably some more Eververse stuff, a big exotic weapon passover and tuning, heroic strike modifiers, and Nightfall challenge cards. A few months into the Warmind, we're going to see new seasonal events, better faction rallies, the return of bounties, which I am excited for, and a final pass on exotics, this time mainly focusing on armor. Now, I'm sure they're going to be quite a bit more. It's still a ways out, and this is just like a list that gets things started. But after that, that is where things start to get good. Season 4, guys, in September. Now, this is where we start dropping the title expansion instead of DLC. We've only seen one expansion since the launch of Destiny almost 5 years ago. It's not quite 5 years ago, but it's creeping up on it. And that has been The Taken King. Of course, hands down, the best content update Destiny has ever seen. Now, even though this list is a bit small, take a look at some of these huge items on this list. First up on the far right-hand side, gear collection. So not 100% on where they're going with this right now, but I'm sure it's to open up vault space, kind of like Kiosk did back in D1. But it could be something else entirely. I'll speculate this another time. But after that, we have records, another mystery, but if it's what I think they're going to be, it's going to be huge. After that, weapon slot changes. Could we be seeing the return of the hand cannon sniper rocket launcher combo, or will it be something else entirely that's going to get this issue solved? Then there is weapon randomization, another huge one. This is what's known as random perk rolls, my friends. And of course, at the end, it says more yet to be revealed. And I'm sure if this is going to be dropping with an expansion, it's going to be a lot more. Now, if you look back at a tweet sent out, I don't know, quite a while now. I'm not really sure what the date is. You'll probably see it when I finally track it down. But it shows some enticing options on the table here. Just a couple of guesses, and the developer said yes to a few of those. So we could be looking at new characters, new classes, maybe even a new race. That's what interests me more than anything else. And for those who didn't know, when you look at the Guardian flag in Destiny, notice that you see this flag is separated into 4 areas. We have Warlock, Titan, and Hunter, but the bottom right is empty, and it's been empty since Destiny released. Well, originally, before Destiny's original story was kind of like, scrubbed, then cut up into what OG Destiny became, there was indeed a 4th kind of Guardian, kind of like a cat person, I guess you can call him. Details were never really fully released, but this class would have went here. But rewriting an entire game, they spent 6 or 7 years making in just 7 months. Well, that didn't leave a lot of room for finesse. So instead of redesigning all the emblems and flags, they just kind of like worked with what they had, and editing out this class was probably the easiest option, and just taking an eraser to the flag was probably one of those decisions. So what does this mean, guys? Well, Bungie has to absolutely know that it needs a wow factor here, and it needs it pretty soon. Salt can be found everywhere. Everywhere. And a lot of fans were putting tons of pressure on this past Go Fast update, that they were pretty much labeling it was Bungie's make or break. Now, I personally disagree with that. Updates are cumulative, they have like a compounding effect on one another. You take this update plus that update, add in a DLC, and then you have a completely different game than it was, the past DLC. So I think it's all pointing to a specific point in time, and I believe it's going to be the expansion. We get all these updates coming up here in this roadmap, plus everything coming with the next 2 DLCs. Well, last DLC, Osiris, then this Warmind one, and then the updates between Warmind and this new expansion. I think that is going to be the time. It's a make it or break it point. That is when this game will truly change over into something completely different, just how it did in the Taken King. These next 2 releases will be a combination effect. Now, if the Warmind DLC sucks, then the expansion in September has to be like the best release Destiny has ever created. Otherwise, I truly, really do think the plug will be pulled in some kind of fashion. Now, Bungie won't go under or anything crazy like that, but they might stop Destiny for a couple years and then focus on, making it better and then releasing something big in the future. I really, really do believe that. Business sense just tells you can't keep going on like this and, ruining your name if you want to keep selling video games. So, if the Warmind DLC is so-so and the expansion is just alright, then I think fans will finally leave for good. But if Bungie does this right and pulls off a good Warmind DLC and then an awesome expansion, there will be a new Destiny boom. Because remember, we had the House of Wolves for just a few short months, and by then, we're already hearing about new subclasses at E3 for the upcoming expansion. This is going to happen in this point in time as well. Warmind releases on May 8th, and just a little over 3 months, the expansion is going to drop in September. E3 is in early June. So a little over a month from the Warmind release, we may have the expansion hype train starting to roar in at E3. And if it's off the heels of a great DLC launch, then I can already see the madness starting to begin. The live team took Destiny into amazing places in Destiny 1. The final D1 expansion, Rise of Iron, was built completely by the live team. Except for the raid, of course, and PvP. But it was awesome. Endgame was super strong, good raid, good weapons, nice grinds, all around a good DLC. So I have faith that things are going in the right direction. But here's why it's taking so long to get there. When Destiny 2 releases, the other DLCs 1 and 2, Osiris and Warmind, they're already in a pretty much semi-playable state. You know, a lot of game studios build DLCs alongside the main game itself. Now, of course, it's not completely finished. They need polishing and some, tuning and stuff. But I'm pretty sure Bungie does this the exact same way as all the other game studios. Of course, don't know that for sure, but if I were a betting man, I'd be all in. So that means these first 2 DLCs will probably be very Destiny 2-like. Probably not the amazing beasts we need them to be, as we saw with Osiris, unfortunately. But the September expansion, well, that's still a half-blank canvas at that time. Something they can use fan feedback with, and then directly implant it into its design from the ground up. Not having a finished product, and then having to scramble and supplant or supplement things just to make it halfway decent like they did with, so many other times. So plainly put, the September expansion will be the first release where they have had the opportunity to incorporate all of this fan feedback directly into a new release. Like I said, the first 2 DLCs are usually already pretty much built by the time, the main game releases. They just tweak some things, try to, make quality of life better, but they pretty much have most of it playable already, which is why The Taken King was so awesome, and which is why I think this next expansion will be so as well. You can't build something, then rip it apart to serve another purpose and make it look and feel good in just a couple of months. It just doesn't work that way. I think Warmind will be way better than Osiris, but September, guys, that's where it's going to hit hard. And even though many say this next DLC is the make it or break it moment, the do or die, it gets thrown around a lot, but I truly do believe from a business standpoint that if things do not go well by then, it's time to take a different approach, and that takes time to figure out. But that is it for me, guys. Kind of a long video, but I wanted to make sure you all have the full spread of details on why I'm actually excited for the future of Destiny. You take all these updates we've been having, plus this next DLC, which they've been tweaking a lot, I'm sure. Then you add an expansion, which they're going to be building from the ground up, not like the 2 DLCs. They were already partly built, I'm sure. So we're going to have a fresh expansion built with all this feedback in mind, plus all of these accumulative updates. I think that is when this game is going to turn a big page. And that is what I'm really excited for. And I haven't used the word excitement in Destiny in a very long time. Now, there will be more things added to Destiny 2 roadmap as time moves on. I have no doubt about that. And don't forget, guys, before I go, April 27th, that is the reveal stream for Warmind, which, by the way, I'll have up on my channel for those who can't tune into Twitch. And don't forget to start catching up, guys. May 8th is just right around the corner, and you can bet we're going to go big for E3 with the expansion on the horizon. So keep those eyes open as I'll have my normal videos back up and running, and keep an eye out for my Warmind DLC video, which I hope to have up after the weekly reset guide. But that is it for me, guys. Glad you're still with me, Guardians. Thank you ever so much for all of your loyalty, patience, and of course, for your time. As always, you can find me on Twitter or Facebook, guys. Sly Nation Gaming. Great things are in the future, and can't wait to show you all what's in store. Take care, Nation. Keep those eyes peeled for tons more D2, Anthem, and Division 2 videos in the very near future. But until then, this is your dude Sly, and I'll catch you all next time.
Let's go.